Okay. My name is Madeline Crandall, and I'm conducting an oral history interview as a part of an effort to archive the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic on individuals and communities in the Midwest for both the Western Wisconsin COVID-19 Archive and the Journal of the Plague Year COVID-19 Archive. So today's date is May 4th, 2021, and it is 3:30 p.m. And as of now, there are 154 million cases and 3.22 million deaths worldwide. Of those, 32.5 million cases and 577,000 reported deaths are in the United States. And today we'll be speaking with Maria Chópite in Minnetonka, Minnesota. In Minnesota, there are 580,000 cases and 7,256 deaths from COVID-19. So Maria, thank you for taking the time to speak with me today and for sharing your experiences of the pandemic. And we really appreciate your help and perspectives for the project. So firstly,
thank you.
What is your name, and do you mind sharing some demographic information such as like race, ethnicity, age, gender, and location?
Okay, my name is Maria Beatriz Chópite González. I was born in Venezuela, Caracas, Venezuela, and then I have been moving and living around the world, in Spain, in Colombia, in Atlanta, Georgia, and now in Minnesota. I have been living here for 11 years now.
Mhm.
I'm a third grade teacher in Spanish immersion in Minnetonka. My race, I'm Hispanic. And well, my parents are both one from Europe, from Spain. My dad and my mom was from Venezuela. Both are dead now. And I'm 55 years old.
Mhm. Okay. And then other than like your job, like what are the primary things that you do like on a day-to-day basis, like extracurricular activities or anything like that, or?
That is not job related. I am I'm in the Spanish immersion program, but I also tutor some neighbors in my neighborhood where I live now in Chaska that are Hispanics, and then I help them with the homework in English.
Mhm. Okay.
So, and I like to walk and read and all those outdoor activities now in the spring.
Mhm. Mhm. Okay. So then when you first learned about COVID-19, what were your initial thoughts about it? And have your thoughts changed since then, or do you still have the same ideas about it?
Well, at the beginning, I was really scary, and I learned about COVID before even it was, an issue here in Minnesota,
Mhm.
because we have family living in, part of our family is in Europe, in Spain specifically, and I also have a nephew living in Australia. And he was traveling at that time. He went to China on November 2019.
Mhm.
So I was, you know, hearing a lot of news about that scary news.
Mhm.
But I was a little bit skeptical about it was coming to the States.
Mhm.
I knew it was coming, but not so fast, so
Mhm.
quick as it was.
Mhm.
And we were really, really, it was unexpected, really. All the things how our life changed in a very small time frame
Mhm.
at that time. It has been a long year. And now, after I got my vaccine and my husband too, I don't have children. I live with my husband, and we are both vaccinated. And now, my perspectives, I'm less worried
Mhm.
because at least I'm sure, not really sure, but at least I know for sure I have some protection against the virus.
Mhm.
But still, I keep my precautions. I keep following protocols. I keep using, all the safety measures uh, um, possible, especially because we are exposure here in the school.
Mhm.
Um, I'm hopeful about the future. Even though I know it's a lot of people that don't believe in the vaccine and are against the vaccine, but for me, I'm a strong believer, and I think if we all got, that vaccine, we can move forward, especially taking back our normal routines that have been really affected in all aspects of our life. I have not seen my family and friends since, my close family that are living even here in the States,
Mm-hmm.
since last 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So still, and we are thinking about still not to travel this summer. Just wait a little bit till December, during winter time, probably.
Mm-hmm. And then how specifically has it affected your family? Are you not, I know you're not traveling right now, but other than that, you're not able to, see anyone or?
No, we are just, Zoom meetings,
Mhm.
family meetings, friends with my friends that live in Spain and in Venezuela, and uh, but it has been. I have two of our family. Well, they were all from my husband. They got COVID and they passed away in
Mhm.
Spain. So, and I know now in Venezuela, in my home country, is a huge spike now. Um, and most of my friends have got COVID there.
Mhm.
One of my siblings got COVID and he's still recovering. So it has affected. My husband lost his job due to
Mhm.
COVID
Mhm.
and is still unemployed.
Mhm.
So yes, it has affected a lot in
Mhm.
our life.
Mhm. And then you said before that it affected your husband's job. In what ways has COVID affected your job and like your day-to-day life and employment and things like that?
Well, it has been this year. We have been through three models, learning models.
Mhm.
So it has been really challenging, especially at the beginning. Being, in I had to be in two classes, different rooms. So I have to split my time in 50 and 50 with the students, keeping the students out of, not so close to me,
Mhm.
and taking a lot of, not only the academic part teaching, is also taking care of their social, emotional,
Mhm.
well-being. Even for me, taking care of my time and setting boundaries, and my life has changed. In some points have changed for in a positive way, because now I realize, I don't take anything for granted now.
Mhm.
So I live every day the best as possible, and we do the best we can with the situation we have.
Mhm.
But yes, I have been modifying all my teaching strategies. The students, they cannot work in groups, so not touching, keeping the distance. It has been affecting even with my colleagues. I don't, even in the school, sometimes I don't see my colleagues from the other side of the school.
Mhm.
So being together in a meeting is just online.
Mhm.
So yes, it has affected, especially the emotional, way, and our connection as a teacher, that we can sit and talk. Uh, Always having a computer is not the same as being in person in a meeting or informal conversations with our colleagues.
Mhm.
And even with parents, the dynamic with parents has been totally different this year. I don't even know well my parents as I used to be years before, because all our connections have been online.
Mhm.
So I maybe find them in the street, outside the school, and I don't know them.
Mhm.
So it has changed so much. We are missing so much parents coming to the school, helping us. So it has been like only us here with the students.
Mhm. How have you noticed the changes with the students specifically? Are they acting differently? Are they behaving differently than before because of these changes due to COVID?
Yes, it has been at the beginning. Many of them in during the fall, most of them were really quiet, really in some point scared and cautious because I
Mhm,
think the parents at home and we were always, following strict protocols, 6 feet distance. This has been changing along the school year because the guidelines have been changing.
mhm,
So, in the positive way, for me, e-learning, I'm not a fan of e-learning, but during when we went during e-learning, it gave me the time to connect one by one with my students.
mhm,
It's not the same time I have now that we are in person, 23 students in one classroom. So I don't have that one-on-one time connection with them.
mhm,
But in the positive, if we go to the positive, side of this, I've noticed that the students they value more the time they are in school.
mhm,
We had a situation, some of them had to go in quarantine and they were crying. I had to go to the nurse to calm down them because they were crying and say that I don't want to go home. I want to be in my school.
mhm,
So the perspective for them is different. I've noticed they play more together as a group, boys and girls,
mhm,
that years before it was not. It was the difference was more evidence, it was more marked with them. Third graders, they are now playing together. They enjoy so much the free time
mhm,
we have. So I think it has been good in that point that they value more the time that they are in school and their friends and their teachers. I've noticed some changes and they are more independent
mhm,
that years before if we compare the group from year before. um, and they are more in some point selfish,
mhm,
is because they have their own materials. They is sharing thing has been because it's not allowed. So with them, this is kind of a balance. But I like to see the positive things in this experience and watching them how they value more the time in school. Um, it has been exciting in that point.
mhm,
More independent, they learn more and they like independent projects. So they take advantage of what they have with the iPads, one-on-one iPads, and all the resources we have, and use more that for own learning. But group, I'm worried about the group working in small groups, working, sharing in the social aspect because uh, they have less time and they are not allowed to touch each other, even though
mhm,
they now it has been better in the last weeks.
mhm,
But yes, they have been changing. It's a change compared with years before. They are more mature now
mhm.
than years before
Yeah.
because they had to grow due to the situation.
Mhm. And then also along with children, how are other people like around you responding to the pandemic, like teachers or other members of the community also?
Well, most of them, most we are all in the same path. I know, I know some. colleagues that are, they prefer to be in a learning setting instead of coming back here in person. So there is a different and a little bit, I don't know how to say that, but like a competence between and some jealous of those who are at home and those who are here in
Mhm.
person. So the fairness thing, that is not fair that we are here exposure to all this, on a regular basis, and
Mhm.
e-learning teachers are, just at home. They
Yeah.
have only 6 students. So yes, with the adult is different, but in the other side, we have been more connected to our teams.
Mhm.
So in the grade level team, we work more closer than we used to do before. We cannot work independently now because we have to share resources, materials, activities, plan together, and do everything together.
Mhm.
So it's different, but in a general, this year have been much better than last year.
Mhm.
Last year we had a lot of anxiety. Uh, we cried together. We were really frustrated with the situation at
Mhm.
the first 3 months.
Mhm.
So later on, it was better. Now it's much better since we came back in person because we are working together. In a school, it's really we need that connection and work as a group, as a team to get all the goals that we have to cover here in in,
Mhm.
in, in elementary.
Mhm. And I know there have been a lot of changes as a result of COVID, like these ideas of like self-isolation and like flattening the curve and things like that. So how have you personally or like friends and family kind of responded to these new ideas?
About the self isolation,
Mhm.
well, one of yes is different, and in my family, well,
Mhm.
my family live abroad, most my siblings, but I have some nieces. My nieces, they live in Florida, in New York, in Colorado. So it depends on their age,
Mhm.
especially in the middle age that I am. Most of my friends and my family, we are in the same. We take a lot of precautions. We don't travel and we don't exposure each other to. We are really cautious with that. The younger, they don't take care. They don't think the same as us.
Mhm.
So they go anywhere and they take pictures, and I'm always like, "You, where is your mask?" And
Mhm.
they, "Oh no, I'm not taking picture with my mask." And then those kind of things, we solve it, and sometimes I don't even tell them anything.
Mhm.
Yeah, you're an adult, but you are exposure.
Mhm.
Even if you are vaccinated, you still have risk.
Mhm.
So, yes, it has affected that perception of the relationship that we have, with your family or your friends, and it depends a lot in the age that you are talking. So it has been a point for reflection, self-reflection. What are they being really cautious about what things you ask others,
Mhm.
that if you are coming to my home, so I want you to know that I follow my protocol, that we clean, shoes are outside. We use masks if we are really more than 4 or 6 people, inside in the home.
Mhm.
Um, so it depends on the situation, but yes, it has been a point of change in
Mhm.
our relationships.
Mhm. And then has like these changes, with these new like rules being enforced kind of changed your perception of how you view other people depending on how they respond? Like I know you mentioned like people don't wear masks. Do you kind of view them a little bit differently? Like do you see them as irresponsible? do you kind of like not talk to them as much anymore, or do you just how do you react to that?
Well, before I got my vaccine, I was, I, I, I feel really frustrated with people who didn't wear masks.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have any situation, hard situation, but I saw like, sometimes I knew people forgot at the beginning, we use, because I have mask in my purse, everywhere, in my car, everywhere. But sometimes you just forget. And when the people, when someone is not using because forgot, and then they try to cover but others were like, I don't care, in the supermarket at least.
Mm-hmm.
So I just try to avoid them. Uh, and if it's someone, it won't happen here in the school because we have strict protocols.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, sometimes, you have to remind, especially the students, like keep reminding them to wear the mask, even though I know it's hard for a
Mm-hmm.
10 years old or 6 years, or and the students. But with an adult, yes, I had one neighbor that she didn't want to use any mask, and we stopped talking to her.
Mm-hmm.
So try to avoid, not nothing, big, but just try to avoid her,
Mm-hmm.
especially before we got vaccinated. Now that we are vaccinated, it's different.
Mm-hmm.
But I keep using my mask and everything, because we are not 100% sure that you are not getting the virus. You
Mm-hmm.
probably get it, but is less, less harmful that if you are not vaccinated. But I totally respect people. I have some friends that they choose not to get vaccinated. I just, keep the distance, and
Mm-hmm.
try to avoid close contact with them.
Mm-hmm. And I know also you mentioned before, like how the children were sometimes you have to remind them to wear the mask. Do you have any sort of like I don't want to say like punishment, but like do you enforce it more if they just keep refusing to, or do they rather just stay at home, or how does that necessarily work with the kids?
Well, we have to, they know it's mandatory, and we made that clear since day one.
Mm-hmm.
So parents know, keep reminding parents, and I have mask everywhere
Mm-hmm.
for child, that if they don't, or they get broken or so, I will give a replacement to them. I had some situation, especially during the fall,
Mm-hmm.
with some that get the mask, and I had to send to the nurse
Mm-hmm.
for them to remind, because we have a policy in the district that is mandatory to use the
Mm-hmm.
mask. So the students, is no way,
Mm-hmm.
they need to use the mask. But being respectful and careful, especially those with special needs, that is hard for them. I have one student with sensory issues,
Mm-hmm.
so he needs to wear a special mask that doesn't, it's not paper mask, not the same, a special mask. So being really respectful of the way, but yes, enforcing the use of the mask inside the school.
Mm-hmm. And I know with the vaccine rollout, how do you think the school district is going to adapt? Are they going to enforce some sort of rule with vaccines, or is it some sort of thing that's optional for parents? Because I know a lot of parents don't really necessarily want their kids to get vaccinated. Is that something that's in place yet, or is still up in the air?
Is still, I don't, with the students, they never told us it was mandatory
Mm-hmm.
to get vaccinated. They offer, and their advice,
Mm-hmm.
beginning with the superintendent and principals, always remain. They gave us a lot of opportunities, um, to get our appointments, to get vaccinated, and all the protocols and everything. with the students, we don't know. We don't know yet.
Mhm.
And but we expect at least they have been and parents have been following protocols, and I know the students tell me that the parents have been getting their vaccine.
Mhm.
So we expect. I don't think they are going to do it mandatory, but maybe in the future it could be.
Mhm.
Maybe in the future, especially to travel to go, because when you travel abroad, you need. And my students are, they have been in Mexico, and then coming back to the state, they need to be tested for COVID. So
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't know what the policy will be for the students.
Mhm.
But for adults, they made clear it's not mandatory,
Mhm.
but really recommended to go and get you, and gave us all the opportunities and available
Mhm.
to make an appointment and get your vaccine, even during work time,
Mhm.
work days.
Mhm. Before you got your vaccine, did you have any questions or concerns about it, or did you trust the government, with the vaccine and
Well, I had a lot of questions.
Mhm.
I had to call my doctor, and even my doctor in Venezuela, because I'm allergic.
Mhm.
Uh, and then, like, I'm allergic to timerous. One of the components of the vaccine, the old vaccines,
Mhm.
is timerosal. And then, like the flu shot, I can have the flu shot because it gets worse on me.
Mhm.
So I was really nervous till the doctor, and here the doctor explained it to me all, that is not the typical, vaccine that we use. It's not the virus that they are getting. I got the Pfizer, and then they explained it to me all the things, and I went really. I was nervous because of the reaction, but after the first shot, everything was. I didn't have any, just a sore arm, and that was, and really exhausted.
Mhm.
But nothing else.
Mhm.
I was. It was, and I'm feeling well. I don't have any symptoms and anything, and I keep getting my COVID test that the
Mhm.
school offer every 2 weeks.
Mhm. And have you gotten your second dose of the vaccine yet, or
Yes, yes, one, let's see, in March. So yes, 1 month, almost 2 months ago.
Mhm. Did
And my husband got the Johnson and Johnson, the Janssen,
Mhm.
before it was suspended.
Mhm.
So we were a little bit worried about that, but it's just one doses, and he's doing perfectly okay. He
Mhm.
didn't have anything. So we are doing pretty well. And my colleagues that got the vaccine, it was the same.
Mhm.
No really hard side effects
Mhm.
that we can be concerned. I'm
Mhm.
a little bit concerned is about the fact that if they are going, is the only thing worries me. If it's this, you have to be next year,
Mhm.
how long it will take,
Mhm.
but we don't know.
Mhm.
So let's wait for that.
Mhm. And then in general, how was like your experience getting access to vaccine? How did the school kind of provide that information to you, like making an appointment and things like that? How did that end up working out?
Well, the first steps was a really big, it was, I think, in January or February when they opened it.
Mhm.
They opened, like, just for really people like, was concerned, and they sent the first email. I think it was in December. I'm not really sure, but I think it was at the beginning of January.
Mhm.
So I let other, like, my turn, instead of writing that I would like the vaccine. I let other people that could be more risk than me. So I let them. I didn't email Dr. Peterson and anything. But in the second round, yes, I got. I signed up for the state of Minnesota, the Department of Health,
Mhm.
and they sent me. We were like in the second group. I got my first doses in February 28th.
Mm-hmm.
No, 27, in February 27th. So yes, it was an easy process, but we were a little bit concerned
Mm-hmm.
about the timing. So because we were worried about if we had effects, what will be for our job. That if we have to be uh, doing a streaming on live from home and more than that. But the vaccine, the process was really fast and really easy, pretty easy. I went to the Mall of America and I didn't even, it was like 10, 15 minutes. And the two doses were really fast. And my husband too. My husband got his in Walgreens and it was 30 minutes and we were done.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So pretty easy compared with other experience that I know they had to make long lines. I didn't have to make any line.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the access was pretty easy for me.
Mm-hmm. And then today also Biden has said that he is planning on having like 70% of Americans vaccinated by July 4th. So how do you think that the government right now is kind of responding to this like vaccine rollout and the crisis in general?
Well, if I think the United States have been, on top of that, and I feel thankful for being here
Mm-hmm.
because our family in Spain is the process is really hard for them. They need to wait till like the hospital will get them. They will call them. It's not like here, like you made an appointment. No, there they have to wait till they are called to
Mm-hmm.
come to go to the doctor. So I think it's a pretty good, I think it will be attainable. That I hope people step ahead to get vaccinated and get conscious about why it's important for everyone to be vaccinated.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they are taking steps pretty fast compared with other countries.
Mm-hmm.
So I was worried at the beginning because it was slow, but since January, it has been January, February. I noticed it has been more easier for people to get vaccinated. And I even know people who is coming from other countries getting the
Mm-hmm.
vaccine here, even paying. They
Mm-hmm.
don't care, but they can pay for that because they cannot find it in their countries.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope everyone, because we need our normal life to be back, and the
Yeah.
economy,
Mm-hmm.
we are worried about that.
Mm-hmm.
People finding jobs and tourists and all the world economy. We need to move forward from this.
Mm-hmm. And then speaking of like moving forward, are you planning towards the future considering like the COVID-19 pandemic? And do you think there's an end, like a light at the end of the tunnel, or do you think it's going to last a couple more years?
I think it will last a couple more years. I think we will be, especially in the schools, it's getting like at the end of the tunnel,
Mm-hmm.
but still we will have to be very cautious
Mm-hmm.
in following protocols. But um, uh, it will be at least a couple of years to get our, as it was before. It's going faster than last year. I thought this is not going to end.
Mm-hmm.
This I was like frustrated, and especially thinking in my profession in teaching, how this affect students and our normal life because e-learning is really good. It's easy, you don't have to travel to work and anything. But in the other side, it's a lot of time affect. I started to feel my eyes, and that Zoom. I was exhaustion to be all the time, not only with the student, but planning and doing, a lot of work using the electronic devices. So once we are back into the normal, is easier, and I'm hopeful it will. We can overcome this, and I believe in science and all the all the people around the scientifics that are trying doing research and everything.
Mhm.
I even in Spain there is a team of researchers that they are trying to do the vaccine for, especially for the little ones, like with a spray,
Mhm.
so it will go into the nose. So I think is we are in a good path, and I think science, we have all the resources available to get override this.
Mhm.
My worry is the countries, the poor countries,
Mhm.
that they don't have the resources, and what is happening in India, for example,
Mhm.
and Brazil. So let's see how this will end, but hopefully it will. I think it will take a couple of years.
Mhm. Okay, yeah, I'm looking forward to the end as well, but
Yes,
never know what's
yes,
happening.
yes, me too.
Okay.
For sure.
Well, thank you so much for answering all of my questions.
Yes, you have been so nice interviewing.
Mhm. Okay.
Thank you.
Mhm.